Good afternoon, everyone. Lloyd, I'm ready to start. How about you? You look ready. You're ready. Lloyd's ready. Mitch Moser, I see you. I see everybody. Thank you and welcome to our, previously and hopefully once again, our annual Benjamin and John Nickoll Young Leadership Award Luncheon. My name is Mitch Nellis. I'm so happy to be joined by my co-chair of the Nickoll Committee, David Cohn, and welcoming you all here today. Isn't it great to be here? Isn't it great? Well, our first order of business is our award has a new name. With great gratitude to John Nickoll, grandson of the late Benjamin Nickoll, for making a recent gift that will ensure the Benjamin and John Nickoll Young Leadership Award will have a long and fruitful life cycle in the years to come. This award has been presented by the Milwaukee Jewish Federation since 1962. That's before David was born. It is given to a young man who demonstrates exemplary leadership within the Jewish community. That's right, new awardees, I'm looking at you. The award was established to honor Ben Nickoll, a leader of our federation and Jewish community in the 1940s and 50s. We are so excited to gather here today as we honor two of our most recent award recipients, Danny Kerns and Noah Domnitz. They are our 2020 and 2021 awardees, respectively. We can't wait to introduce them and hear all about the great things they are doing in and about our community and their great community endeavors. We know they will make great additions to the roster of Nickoll awardees.
And as joyous as today is, we would like to take a moment to remember and honor Ken Burke, who sadly passed away earlier this year. Ken was the first ever recipient of the Ben Nickoll Award and had been the oldest living recipient. He was an active member of the Nickoll Committee throughout his lifetime and didn't slow down his involvement even in the most recent years. He was always cheerful, upbeat, positive in all of his dealings, and despite our individual age differences, was a mentor and a close friend. Together, let's take a moment to reflect on Ken's life. Thank you. And once again, thank you for celebrating 61 years of the Benjamin and John Nickoll Young Leadership Award with us. Now, please, let's give a warm welcome to Rabbi Joel Alter.
My rule of public speaking is to let you know that I know that no rabbi has ever been asked to give a Dvar Torah at a public event. Rabbis are only asked to offer a brief Dvar Torah at public events. In this week's Parsha, the rebels, the paradigmatic rebels of Korach and his people, they challenge Moshe and Aaron. They said, Lama titnasu al kahal Adonai. Why do you raise yourselves up as leaders, and what they're saying is illegitimate leaders, over this sacred community, God's community? And this week's episode is just one episode in a whole book of episodes and more, where the formation of the Israelite community seems always at risk of failing utterly, where the community in formation seems to be actually falling apart because of adversity, falling apart because of internal conflict, falling apart because of failure of nerve, falling apart because of failure of vision. I could go on. And the story of the Torah, and in particular of the book of the Torah, Bamidbar, Numbers, that we are now reading, the story of the Torah is really the story of how a community comes together and stays together. And these chapters, in particular after last week's Parsha, these chapters are particularly poignant because there is what's going on at this point in the Torah story, and if any of you want to discuss this over after lunch, I'll be happy to at length. What's going on here is that the community has to be remade, has to be completely remade, even as it progresses through the wilderness. It's the proverbial changing the engine of the bus while it is in motion. It's a very, very challenging situation. So how does it work? It works because the leaders and the people never lose sight of the fact that they are Kahal Adonai, that they are a sacred covenanted community headed toward a common goal. And to you, Danny, and to you, Noah, I am here, the first of many who will speak in honor of you on behalf of the whole community, to recognize you as people who have a clear sense of the fact that the Jewish community is a sacred covenanted community with clear goals, that we need nimbleness and creativity and new thinking to keep this community together, because God knows there is no shortage of adversity facing us, but it is by virtue of leaders with the commitment and the generosity and the clarity of vision that you have that this Jewish community has great hope and is confident that we will successfully make the journey ahead, as our generations before us have done. So thank you for your commitment. Thank you for your creativity. Thank you for your generosity. And thank you for your dogged work. I forgot to grab a piece of bread from my table for the motzi. Moshe, can you help me out here? Oh, you got it? Beautiful. There we go. Equity is indeed a value for a successful community. And so take the role that you prefer in front of you, and won't you join me, please? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Can you hear me? Is this on? Yes, it is. Good afternoon. I hope everyone is enjoying your lunch. Please continue eating as we continue on with the program. Hello, neighbors. Good afternoon. I'm Joan Lubar, the board chair for the Milwaukee Jewish Federation. It's truly my honor. Thanks, Moshe. From, the immediate past board chair. I appreciate that. It's truly my honor to be here with you at our Ben Nickoll and John Nickoll Young Leadership Award Luncheon. Many thanks to our award committee co-chairs, David Cohn and Mitch Nellis, for making today an outstanding celebration of communal leadership. Today's awardees, Danny Kearns and Noah Domnitz, are simply two of Milwaukee's best and brightest. They put their heart and soul into everything they do, especially for our Jewish community. We are so fortunate Danny and Noah have chosen to live generously in Milwaukee. Danny and Noah represent the future. They will be charged with leading our community and fulfilling Federation's mission to take care of the needs of the Jewish community and build a vibrant Jewish future in Milwaukee, Israel, and around the world. Noah and Danny, thank you in advance for all you will continue to accomplish on our behalf for many years to come. The Benjamin and John Nickoll Young Leadership Award is presented by Federation's Nextgen group, which helps ensure that the Milwaukee Jewish community goes from strength to strength across the generations. We engage our young leaders in social, volunteer, philanthropic, and networking opportunities that build their skill and passion for guiding our community. In addition to honoring men who demonstrate exemplary leadership, this award has helped recipients attend the Jewish Federations of North America's GA, the General Assembly, one of the world's largest gatherings of Jewish leaders. After 2 years of being virtual, this year we will be in person in Chicago, and we certainly hope that Noah and Danny will join us there. As Mitch mentioned, the award has a new name this year. We are thrilled to have been able to change the name to the Benjamin and John Nickoll Young Leadership Award. Benjamin was an incomparable Jewish communal leader. We are so thankful that 6 decades after Benjamin established the award, his grandson, John Nickoll, has chosen to expand the award with a very, very generous pair of gifts. John's generosity will ensure that award recipients like Danny and Noah now receive a full stipend to attend the GA. Federation is grateful for John's philanthropy and deep commitment to Milwaukee. John truly exemplifies Jewish Milwaukee, even though he now lives in LA. I mentioned earlier going from strength to strength across the generations, and the recent expansion of the award is such a fine example of this. L'dor v'dor, from generation to generation, is an ever-present guiding principle of Judaism. That the older generation passes the figurative baton to the younger ones to make a difference in the world. As Jews, we are expected not to finish the work, but to continue it. And John Nickoll certainly understands this. L'dor v'dor also underscores the ongoing communal involvement of Pat Kerns and his grandson, Danny Kearns, a second-generation Nickoll Award recipient. As we celebrate our Ben Nickoll winners today, I want to acknowledge the incredible work of Pat Kerns, Danny's grandfather. For years, Pat Kerns has championed the Ben Nickoll Award and for the past few years, he has gone even further. Pat appealed to John Nickoll, Ben Nickoll's grandson, who lives in Los Angeles and is in his 80s. Pat asked John to endow this award and ensure it can be given in perpetuity. Thank you, Pat, for your work on establishing the newly formed John and Ben Nickoll L'dor v'dor Award. I can only imagine the nachas that Pat is feeling today, being able to recognize his grandson for following so generously in his footsteps. Thank you for being here with Federation to celebrate L'dor v'dor within Milwaukee and for joining together to honor Danny and Noah, who are so successfully continuing the vital work of all those who came before them. And now it is truly my honor to turn your attention to a very special video message from John Nickoll.
I want to congratulate today's award winners, Danny Kearns and Noah Domnitz. It's very important that Milwaukee Jewish community recognize outstanding community service like yours. If I'd been able and allowed to travel to Milwaukee, I would be there in person today to congratulate Danny and Noah. I had planned to be there, but some recent physical illness issues have made it hard to travel. Danny Kearns' grandfather, Pat, and grandmother, Joni, are good friends of mine. When they called to say he was receiving the award this year, I said I would make a donation in his honor. I then spoke at length with Federation President and CEO Miriam Rosenzweig. In keeping with my grandfather's legacy, I want to ensure that this program will continue long into the future. So it is my honor to increase my commitment to ensuring we can inspire future generations to become Jewish leaders in Milwaukee. It is my pleasure to help out in any way I can, ensuring the young men who receive this award can now fully participate in the Jewish Federations of North America, General Assembly, Convention, and other leadership programming. Really helps the whole Milwaukee Jewish community. It was a natural thing for me to do this, especially because it has to do with my grandfather. I even named my son Benjamin after my grandfather while he was still living, and got his permission to do that. I was the oldest grandchild and was very close to him. I always respected my grandfather a lot and enjoyed being with him. I was always very impressed by him. He was just 10 years old when he came from the Ukraine. He never went to high school. Instead, as the oldest of 4 children, he went to work to support the family. He taught himself to read and write English and helped his mother feed his siblings. He was a very good salesman and eventually became very successful in leasing chain stores with the co-founding of his company, Nickoll and Turner. Incidentally, Mr. Turner was Wendell Willkie's roommate at Princeton. I was also very impressed by my grandfather's role in charity. He became very active in the Jewish community. In fact, Golda Meir, who worked as a teacher in Milwaukee, once said at a fundraiser, while some people may make very large gifts, no one gives more of his time and energy than Ben Nickoll. Carry on something in his name is a great honor. It is also nice to recognize young Jewish leaders in Milwaukee because I grew up there. I've always had a fine spot in my heart for my hometown. My lifelong closest friend was from Milwaukee. I attended Shorewood High School, and I have some very good memories of Milwaukee. It's nice to reconnect with Milwaukee in this way. I'm pleased to help continue and expand this important award. It's a good to honor young people like Danny and Noah who have contributed significantly as they have to local charities in the Jewish community. I hope you will continue to be active and to make a difference. Congratulations to you both.
Hi again. At this time, we want to thank and recognize the Pfister and the Marcus family for always being such great hosts for this event. We also want to thank all of our Milwaukee Jewish Federation staff who work so hard behind the scenes to make an event like this such a success, so thank you. Young Leadership, now commonly known as Nextgen, is a department of our Milwaukee Jewish Federation that focuses on exactly that. What is next? Our philanthropic and volunteer worlds have been turned a bit upside down these past couple of years, but yet we are still here. Hinenu. We still show up, and we still believe in the power of community, philanthropy, and tikkun olam, repairing the world. But we also know that is not the case for everyone. We know there are serious challenges right now to convincing people that this room is a room where everyone is welcome. We have our work cut out for us. Whatever your cause, your passion is, there should be a spot at the table for you. From helping our youngest at our numerous preschools to our most experienced at our living facilities and everyone in between, our Milwaukee Jewish Federation needs to prioritize giving everyone a seat at the table. It's one of the reasons we're so excited about our 2 Benjamin and John Nickoll Young Leadership Award winners this year. We'll hear more about Danny and Noah from their chosen presenters. But David and I know you agree, we both believe they are connectors and ambassadors for finding a seat and a voice for our entire community. So with that in mind, we want to call up Ari Domnitz to begin our award presentation.
Good afternoon, everybody. When my brother asked me to give his introduction at the ceremony for the Benjamin E. Nickoll Award, I was honored, I was humbled, and I was confused because I was not familiar with the award and frankly didn't know what it was for. So, like any diligent Jewish man, I studied. The description I found for the award said, "The award is given to a young man who demonstrates exemplary leadership within the Jewish community. According to organizers, it is meant to be both an honor and to inspire recipients." The Milwaukee Jewish Federation has taken care of honoring my brother today. So I would like to spend my limited time on the idea of inspiration. Inspiration as it pertains to the Jewish aspects of Noah's life comes from many places. It comes from his time spent at the Milwaukee Jewish Day School with leaders like Doris Schneidman, Ateret Cohn, and Marge Myers, where he learned Hebrew and Judaica. It comes from his bar mitzvah study with Cantor Cohn, Rabbi Panich, and Rabbi Buckman, where he learned to read Torah and the importance of Jewish study. It comes from his summers at Camp Interlaken and his time spent on committees through the Jewish Federation and his time as a member of the Weinstein Fellowship, where he learned the value of living in a Jewish community with leaders like Moshe Katz, Andrea Schneider, and Joan Lubar. But when I search for the true meaning of his inspiration to live a Jewish life, I inevitably come to the core that has grounded both of us and been our true north in all areas of life, and that's the home at 1048 East Lexington Boulevard. My parents, Anita and Rick, sent us to the Milwaukee Jewish Day School. They encouraged us to become bar mitzvah. They were proud of our involvement in the Federation, but it was living in our home and living by the values our parents set down that made us inspired Jewish men. In our home, we were taught that the world would judge us on what we do and not what we say. We were taught the value of gratitude and compassion. We were taught to hold our families close and to give back monetarily and with our time and our passion. We were raised to treat others as we hoped to be treated. In light of recent events, I apologize, I have to make a slight adjustment to the speech. The other thing that we were taught day in and day out was that every day that we woke up, no matter what, we should know that both our parents were in our corner, facing the world as a team every day. Noah lives his life with these values in mind, and he makes us proud every day. When I look at the trajectory of Noah's life, the one promise I feel confident I can make is, you ain't seen nothing yet. While I know he is deserving of this prestigious award, I have no doubt that his service to our Milwaukee Jewish community has only just begun. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce a young man who does not just speak, he acts. A young man who is filled with gratitude and compassion. A young man who is dedicated to his family, his brilliant wife, Rebecca, his beautiful sons, Hirsch and Levi. It is my honor to introduce my brother, my best friend, and inspired Jewish man, Noah David Domnitz.
I'm not crying, you're crying. Well, as he has been for my entire life, he's a really difficult act to follow. I can't thank you enough. When I was asked if there was somebody that I wanted to do this introduction, it was a list with only one name on it. Now you all know why. Thank you, brother, for everything. I love you dearly. As I'll expand on shortly, there are the ties that bind this celebratory day, and those ties are family and brotherhood. Before turning to my own family, I want to thank the Nickoll family. Thank you for not only creating this award and the resulting brotherhood of amazing gentlemen, but for recently renewing that commitment and thereby ensuring that it continues for many years to come. And I want to congratulate Danny and the entire Kerns family on your honor today as well. It's good with an award that's named Young Leadership that at least one of us has kept our boyish good looks. So thank you for taking the pressure off in that regard. Service to the community at large, and specifically the Jewish community, is critically important to me. The drive to help when I can help, give when I can give, and lead when I can lead was instilled in me and my brother by our parents, both explicitly and by example. As Ari just mentioned, you are what you do, we were taught, not what you say. Since completing the Weinstein Fellowship, my most intimate involvement with service in the Jewish community has been through the Jewish Museum Milwaukee, where I've been proud to serve on the board of directors and the executive committee. Due to the way that JMM interacts with not just the Jewish community, but the community at large, I'm able to see firsthand the impact that this hidden gem of a museum can have on Milwaukee and around the country as our exhibits travel from coast to coast. I'm a Milwaukee Jewish community lifer. Much of my youth was shaped by my interaction with organizations and partner agencies that benefit from their relationship with the Federation. I graduated from MJDS after 10 years. I went to Rainbow Day Camp, Camp Interlochen, and participated in BBYO sports and social events at the JCC. The cycles of life have continued, and now my and Rebecca's two boys, Hirsch and Levi, went to Jewish Beginnings, currently go to MJDS, currently go to Rainbow Day Camp, and someday will leave to go to Camp Interlochen. I'm happy to report that thus far, they have had far less interaction with the disciplinary system at each of those institutions than either Ari or I ever had, but it's early. I am acutely aware of the foundational impact this history had on my life, and I am grateful for it. This particular award has incredible meaning to me. As I look at the past recipients list, I am incredibly humbled to have my name added. I recognize these names, as I'm sure all of you do, as stalwarts and pillars of our community. Men who have not just talked the talk, but who have walked every step of the walk. On this list are so many people I consider dear friends and mentors and so much more. Mark Gleichman, whose son Max was my best friend from day one at MJDS. He's been like a father figure to me and remains a close friend to this day. My cousin Bill Yappel, who's here with us today, who by virtue of marrying my dad's first cousin Elaine has been at every significant Dubin, Domnitz, Simcha for more than 50 years. Max Rosansky, who ordered me to the cafe just down the hall for a meeting where I learned I had been selected to receive this honor and join this brotherhood. Max, I appreciate to my core your kind words and important sentiments that day, and I promise that I will take seriously your reminder that receiving this award is not merely a recognition for past service, but an acceptance of the responsibility to serve into the future. But of all the names on this list, there's one that stands out most to me, and that's my uncle, Avon Domnitz, of blessed memory. The theme of brotherhood permeates this entire event. Uncle Avon was my dad's older brother, and just as my older brother has smoothed life's path for me, so too did my uncle for his younger brothers. He was the first Domnitz to become a lawyer and was thus responsible for my dad going to law school, and therefore, in meaningful part, responsible for my becoming a lawyer. Two quick notes on the beautiful synchronicity life offers sometimes. First, Uncle Avon joined the Nickoll Award Brotherhood in 1981, the year that I was born. And second, after this luncheon and celebration were delayed and rescheduled several times due to COVID restrictions, the Federation landed on this date, June 27th, which is the exact 7-year anniversary of my Uncle Avon's passing. I am eternally grateful to join my uncle on this list of recipients. I cannot properly articulate all it means to me to have my name engraved forever on a service-related list next to his. As I stand here today with my older brother and talk about the integral role of brotherhood and family, I must mention my dad more directly. Unfortunately, he was hit recently with a freak medical challenge, which has forced him to sit this morning on his deck in Whitefish Bay and work unnecessarily on his tan rather than join us here today. Nothing is more important to him than family, and I know there's nowhere else he'd rather be than in this room today. We know he will soon rally, as he always does, and I'm sure he'll be off golf's disabled list in no time. My relationship with my father is nothing short of life-defining. And if Ari has helped smooth the path before me, it is my father's footsteps in which we both proudly walk. Thank you to my sister-in-law, Angie, for coming today to support me. I'm sure it's comforting to be here not just with the family, but also in a room filled with your physical therapy patients. Thank you to my mother, a true Renaissance woman and the single greatest ambassador of unconditional love, kindness, and gratitude that I've ever known. Somehow you managed for all those years to keep the three of us in line. Thank you. To my amazing wife and partner on this journey, Rebecca, what can I say? You are my rock, my biggest supporter, and in addition to being a true courtroom warrior, you're also a super mom. That's one word, capital S. Thank you, and I love you. Lastly, to our two sons, Hirsch and Levi, who are just down the road at Discovery World Camp and thus mercifully not having to listen to this speech. You are the greatest blessing I've ever received. My promise to you is that I will endeavor to teach you, as my uncle, father, and brother taught me, what is most important in life, so that someday you will make our community better for us all. Thank you all wholeheartedly for this recognition. I will wear it as a badge of honor always. Thanks.
Congratulations once again, Noah. That was great. And next, we'd like to bring up to present the award to Danny, his grandmother, Joan.
Pretty hard to follow all that, but I'll try. My name is Joan Kearns, and today I am so proud to be able to introduce you to our grandson, Danny Kearns. Before I do that, however, I must tell you a little bit about him. Danny and his two brothers, Michael and David, grew up in Fox Point and attended Bayside School and Nickel High School. For their religious education, they attended Congregation Sinai, where Danny and his brothers were bar mitzvahed. Danny feels that experience is really what influenced his desire to eventually become involved in the Jewish community. While at Nickel, Danny performed in several musicals. Danny plays multiple instruments and sings, so after college, he put together a band which was invited to perform at Summerfest and at the State Fair. Danny graduated from Indiana University. While there, he became involved in a program called College Mentors for Kids, where he worked with underprivileged and at-risk youths to expose them to the benefits of higher education. After college, when Danny came back to Milwaukee, he bought a duplex in Bayview. Because it needed a lot of costly repair, he learned from the internet how to do most of it himself. He now has 2 tenants occupying his beautifully finished home. He got involved in the Bayview community and was asked to be on the Bayview Community Center board. He also was training for his first marathon, which he completed, and went on to run a second one the following year. In many conversations with his papa about the Jewish community, Danny became interested in getting involved. Pat suggested he look into the Weinstein Foundation as a way to begin his Jewish volunteerism. This program is a leadership development program that seeks to develop the next generation of leaders. This was the fire that ignited Danny's enthusiastic interest in the Jewish community. Besides that, he became a board member of the Bader Hillel Academy and was asked to join the Milwaukee Agency Review Committee, where he learned about what the different agencies do in our Jewish community. We are so proud of the honor Danny is being given today as the 2020 Ben Nickoll Young Leadership Award. As an aside, I grew up with John Nickoll, Ben Nickoll's grandson. Our families were very close, and I am so thrilled and proud that the name is being changed to the Ben and John Nickoll Young Leadership Award. John is extremely philanthropic, and though he lives in California, he has never forgotten Milwaukee. His generosity to our community has been remarkable and so much appreciated. Danny is employed by and just became manager of ProSource Franklin, which is a subsidiary of Kerns Carpet One. As you can see, Danny has been and continues to be a very active member of our community. During all of this, Danny met the love of his life, Caitlin, and they will be married in September. Sorry. In conclusion, I must tell you that thanks to his 4 loving parents, Bill and Patty, Maureen and Keith, Danny is a personable, self-confident, committed, loving, and very smart young man. I couldn't be more proud than to introduce to you my grandson, Danny Kearns.
Every good Jewish boy has a Jewish grandmother. None of you got one like mine, I'll tell you that right now. Unbelievable. It was very easy to ask her to do this for me. It was an absolute no-brainer. Just give me 1 second here. You know, in preparing for this speech, I thought a lot about my Judaism. You know, what does it mean to be Jewish? And I had a lot of conversations with my fiancée, Caitlin. Cell phone? Is that what it is? About what it means. You know, what is religion? What is spirituality? And to talk to somebody outside of the faith and really consider what it meant to me has really informed not just this moment, but I think everything I do going forward. It's been very interesting. So the Benjamin and John Nickoll Award for Young Leadership. Young Jewish leadership. I got to tell you, some days I wake up, I don't feel that young anymore. Some days I wake up and I don't want to be a leader. And some days I wake up and I'm not sure I feel specifically Jewish. You know, what does it mean to be Jewish? Is it a classic belief in God? Is it a pious individual that follows the Talmud and the Torah to its word? Because if that's the metric, I don't know that I see any Jews in this building right now. But to me, Judaism has always been community-based. You know, we are a rising tide that raises all boats, regardless if that boat has a Star of David on the bow. You know, Judaism is a gift. It is a responsibility. It is the belief that a great question is answered with more great questions. There is no one answer to Judaism, and that's the beauty of Judaism. It is what you make of it. It is your answer. The Milwaukee Jewish Federation embodies my Jewish beliefs. We are to give when we can. We teach the next generation. We care for the elderly. We raise all those boats. And while it is written in our texts, and while we read about Tikkun Olam, I never learned about Tikkun Olam from reading. I learned it from watching my family, watching our community, watching all of you. I have two great Jewish influences in my life. One could not make it here today. My mom, she is homesick, unfortunately. It seems to be going around. Yep. But my mom was born Catholic to Irish and Italian parents in New Jersey. So she had the state right, but the rest would come about 30 years later. In the 90s, she converted to Judaism and still wet for the mikveh. She sent myself, David, and Michael off to be bar mitzvahed at Congregation Sinai. And we would have Shabbat on Fridays, and we would sing in temple, and we would trim the Christmas tree right after we lit the Hanukkah candles and sang Christmas carols with our cousins. My mom is the reason I'm Jewish, and she's a huge part of the reason that I'm up here right now. And I just want to say to her, thank you for this religion. My second Jewish influence, and the biggest Jewish influence in my life, is my grandfather. And I'm so lucky to have him here today, not because he is a previous award winner, but because truly, all things considered, he is the finest individual that I have ever met. You all know him as Pat Kerns. To me, he's Papa. Papa, you are the living version of my Jewish beliefs. You have opened my eyes to the responsibility that an individual has to their fellow man. We are to be moral. We are to be fair. We are to give without the expectation of receiving. And if all else fails, just be kind. In 2015, you set me on this path with the Milwaukee Jewish Federation. Thank you for this journey. Thank you. To my mom, to my grandfather, to the two greatest leaders I know, you are the greatest Jewish role models in my life, and I share and dedicate this award with you. I want to take a moment to thank the Milwaukee Jewish Federation, all of its donors, its members, its agencies, but most importantly, its employees. I've had the luxury of spending the last 7 years with all of you, and I'll tell you, without the employees, none of this matters. We're not sitting here, none of this happens. People who dedicate themselves to this cause on a day-to-day basis deserve a lot more awards than I'm getting right now. So thank you very much for that. Congratulations to Noah, the entire Domnitz family. Ari, it's great to see you. It's great to see you. Angie, great to see you as well. Yeah. I want to thank my family. I have 4 incredible parents, some outstanding siblings, 2 of which are here today. My grandparents, and of course, Caitlin. Finally, I want to thank the Nickoll family and all previous Nickoll Award winners. This honor, this recognition, it's truly incredible, and I will cherish it. I'll leave you with an old quote from an old rabbi, and it goes like this: if we are not better tomorrow than we are today, what purpose do we have for tomorrow? Thank you so much, and I look forward to sharing the rest of this journey with all of you. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you all for being here. Congratulations again, Danny and Noah. It is really, truly wonderful to be here and in this space with everyone. I'm Kelly Bittinger. I'm the director of Nextgen for the Milwaukee Jewish Federation. So nice to meet so many new faces, see some old faces. Since I have been here in Milwaukee, y'all are a huge part of why this has become home for me. And so truly, side note, thank you for all of that. I recently stepped into the Nextgen position, and this is one of those best ways to kick off something of that sort, to see the past, the current, the future, to see so many people here in one space, and really those community leaders who make this community what it is. Mitch alluded to it a little bit earlier, but this is a space that we are continuously building out our community. We are continuing to find what is going to drive our community, our Jewish community, our Milwaukee community, and really to create this into a space that you want to be a part of, that we want our peers to be a part of, that we want our future generations to not just come and be a part of, but to want to lead and to be in that space to really take this on as the Milwaukee Jewish community. I look forward to connecting with so many of you in this room. Each of you has such an incredible story, and some of them I have heard. I cannot wait to hear more of them, because you are what gets us together in this room. And so over the next few weeks, over the next few months, after this award luncheon, I hope to really get to know many of you and your stories as we take the future of Nextgen as we move forward. It's so important that we recognize Milwaukee's outstanding young Jewish leaders like Danny and Noah. Danny and Noah have outstanding careers. They have busy lives. They have all of these things going on, and yet they choose to dedicate their time, their energy into our Jewish community, and really invest their talents and their space there. They prioritize giving back and repairing our world, and they are crucial to the health and the future of this space. They set a wonderful example for their peers and for our next generation, so thank you both again so much. Joan mentioned it earlier, L'Adore Vador is something that we see so much throughout this community and really is a space to celebrate today. And so we hope to continue to build all of this out. I really appreciate it again. I want to take a moment to acknowledge some of the great leaders who are here today, especially so many of our past Benjamin and John Nickoll Award winners. So if everyone who is a past and current Benjamin and John Nickoll Award winner can please stand up. We'd love to take a moment and see around the room who all is here today with us. Such a wonderful, incredible group who really, again, the past, the present, the future. I cannot wait to see all of our generation who continues to join us within that space. Before we wrap up today, I would also like to ask all of the past award winners to please stay for a group photo at the end as we conclude so that we can get some of those great photos with all of you. And finally, a thank you to David Cohen and Mitch Nellis for co-leading the Nickoll Award process and for being such terrific co-chairs this year. This really has been such a wonderful afternoon and a true celebration of Jewish Milwaukee. So thank you again so much for joining us this afternoon. Congratulations, Noah and Danny. And I look forward to, again, hearing all of your stories and have a wonderful summer ahead. Thank you all.